On 16 courts, we take you to Cliff Drysdale and Mary Jo Fernandez in Rod Laver Arena.
Thank you, Chris. First ball about to get underway here, as you said, Rod Laver Arena. World's top player, USA, California, Lindsay Davenport, two-time, ending the year, this last year and the year before that at #1. Opponent today, Mary Jo from Australia, a wildcard entrant, which means that she didn't qualify normally to get into here. She's ranked 180 in the world, but she had a solid year last year.
Dellacqua played a lot of ITF Challenger events, won a lot of them to get her ranking inside the 200. She was excited about playing Davenport, someone she looks up to.
15.
She's had a wild card here the last 3 years. Dellacqua has not passed the first round. She thinks this is the fittest she's been, the best tennis she's been playing in her career.
First balls being hit the Australian Open, the first Grand Slam of the year here at Melbourne Park, and
so we can only get one, 2 minutes.
Quotient. You know, you get ready for the championship match in 2 Sundays from now, and you enjoy that moment. But this early stage here, as you take a look at Casey Dellacqua, as we said, a youngster, 20-year-old here from Australia, wildcard entrant, taking on the world's #1.
There's excitement, Cliff, but there's also that tension, especially the first time of the year. You've had some time off, 5 or 6 weeks, not a lot of preparation match-wise coming into this event. Davenport played an exhibition in Hong Kong. Most players maybe played 1 tournament. So you're still trying to find your form. You're still trying to get match tough. So it can get a little stressful these first few games of the first major of the year.
30-all.
Davenport knew nothing about Dellacqua.
47.
Just trying to find out the last 48 hours if anybody knew how Dellacqua played. Davenport, 29 years old, a veteran. She had a terrific year last year, Lindsay, but didn't win a major, and that's why Davenport is still playing. A couple years ago, talked about retiring. Now that's the furthest thing from her mind. She knows that she's come close. She's worked hard physically, and she wants one more major title. The last one came here in 2000. New coach for Davenport, starting up in 2006, David Dellacqua, former ATP Tour player.
She said she wanted a different perspective on her game, and apparently, from everything she's saying, she's getting it, Mary Jo.
Well, Dellacqua is very good tactically with strategy. I saw him this morning. He was asking about finding some of Davenport's old matches to analyze them, examine them. And I think she needed a different voice in her ear. And I think it's a good sign from Davenport that she's committed to playing this whole year and to staying at the top of women's tennis.
You know, Mary Jo, the word you just used, commitment, is something that I think is so relevant as far as the world's #1 is concerned, because she is showing commitment now. She's got a new coach, as we said. She's ended up the last 2 years at #1 in the world, but it has not been easy for her. As you said, she hasn't won a slam. But this dedication and commitment is quite clear right now.
It really is. She took about 4 weeks off after the championships, tennis-wise, did not hit a ball, but she worked out physically practically 2 days after the championships ended. She was in the gym. She was doing the footwork. She's very committed to winning one more Grand Slam title. And I felt that after she lost the Wimbledon final last year, a heartbreaker, she had match point against Venus, that was going to take a lot out of Lindsay. But to have her bounce back and still feel like she can do it is terrific.
Seems like she has learned from her losses. Talking about the Wimbledon loss, what about the one here last year in the championship match?
She had Serena on the ropes, a set, and 3-all. Long game, didn't go her way, and I think physically she was tired, and that mentally took its toll on that long 3-all game. Lost 9 straight games.
Having said all that, Mary Jo, is she the favorite to win this title this year here in Australia?
Well, she's healthy, so that's very important. I think she's the favorite, but it comes down to belief, and Brad Gilbert said it earlier in the opening. A handful, even more than a handful of players can win this year's Australian Open. Between Davenport, Clijsters, Henin winning last week in Sydney. Who knows what the Williamses do? They're always a question mark. Sharapova fighting off an injury.
Talk about those early match nerves, Mary Jo, and of course everybody feels it. I mean, just every player in this field, both men and women, feel it first match of a slam. But for this young Australian,
right now, break point, second serve.
Exactly.
Yep.
Gift there from Dellacqua, and Lindsay Davenport breaks 2 games to love for top player in the world. Finalist here last year. She has won 3 slam titles, 3 different slam titles. The only one she doesn't have under her belt is the French Championships.
Love 50.
And Mary Jo, has she lost weight since we saw her in Los Angeles? She's looking very slim to me.
I think she's even fitter. That's where she emphasizes her times, just being as quick as possible. That's something she's worked on. It's always been a weakness, her movement. But she feels if she can get that extra step in a rally, it gives her such a big advantage.
Up 30 in this game, 2 games to love for Davenport.
We talk about the underdog, Dellacqua, being nervous, playing against the #1 player in the world. You forget the top players get a little nervous too. Early on, bad judgment call from Davenport. That's a little bit of tension right there, not knowing whether it hit or not. In a couple more matches, you'll see Davenport taking that volley and hitting a winner. Davenport's a little off with their first serve at the moment, missing by a lot.
Casey Dellacqua this morning was warming up on this Rod Laver arena. Lindsay was warming up on an outside court.
Good hitting from Davenport.
30.
Davenport's always trying to take the ball early, take control of the point as soon as possible, whether it's off her first serve and getting that first strike in a rally, taking time away from her opponents.
Testimony to this tournament now here in Australia that there are so many fans in the stands already in the Rod Laver Arena. It's only 11:25 in the morning.
Australians love their tennis. The lines were long a couple hours before the Gates opened. Davenport break point against her. This game becomes so important for the Australian, just to get on the board, get rid of those nerves.
Just what I was thinking, if she doesn't win this game, this could be zip and zip.
Could be very, very fast.
Advantage to Dellacqua.
Another chance for Dellacqua. Rhythm and her timing on that serve. She's been misfiring so far early in this match. Got a better ball toss. Didn't let it drop. And that's a serve that she works on a lot because her favorite serve is the one up the tee on the ad side. On the deuce side, she likes to go out wide.
Been a very scratchy start, but that's what you expect. Sort of play your way into a tournament.
I find that so many of the top players find their form in this event. Match by match, they start feeling in better shape, better about their game, their timing. It's very different from the rest of the slams where you've come in with a lot of matches.
Lindsay Davenport holds, and she has got a 3-game-to-love lead here as we take a look at downtown Melbourne, Australia. Scratchy start, but a quick one for Lindsay Davenport. She's got 3 games to love. Let's go to another member of our team, the lively one, Luke Jensen. Luke?
Hey, thanks, Cliff. I'll tell you, one of the things about being down here in Laver Arena, you have to be comfortable. We talked about Lindsay Davenport being, kind of mistiming a bunch of shots, practicing on an outside court, court number 5, where it's very confined. Dellacqua, on the other hand, was on this court. She has a very whippy forehand. She's from Perth, Australia, but she spends a lot of time practicing here around the ground, so she's familiar with the situation.
Thank you, Luke, and your new look.
I like it, Luke.
Lean and mean.
You're ready for the hot weather, aren't you?
Yeah, Lindsay just saw me and she started cracking up on the sideline.
You just want to be like your brother.
I think it definitely does help to practice on the court you're going to play on later on. Get used to the space between the baseline and the back of the court. Davenport's played enough on this court.
By the way, Mary Jo, you said something before we went to the commercial break I meant to respond to. You said that, here the players can, what you're saying is because they play their way into this tournament and into form. Unlike some of the other slams, but I really feel like at Wimbledon they're faced with the same thing because there's such a short space between the end of the clay and into the grass court.
Very true. But you're coming off the French Open, having played matches. You have a couple weeks to play on grass if you choose to. It's very similar, but I think here you're coming off the off season, which is not very long, but still 5 or 6 weeks. A lot of players don't even play a tune-up tournament. Lindsay chose just to play an exhibition in Hong Kong. Well played by Davenport. I think one thing she's looking to do this year is open up the court with more angles, really take advantage of her power and hit the ball maybe sometimes shorter in the court, not always just hit deep along the baseline.
Game point for Dellacqua of Australia. She says that ever since she was a young girl, her parents gave her every opportunity to fulfill her potential, put a lot of money into her junior career. So although she's from the west coast of Australia, she spent a lot of time here in Melbourne and Sydney.
Won the junior doubles here in 2003, Dellacqua, but she was, I think, a little intimidated going into this match. It's easy to get overwhelmed when you're playing the #1 player in the world.
Break point for Davenport for a second break for her. The top seed at this championship, losing in the final last year, Davenport to Serena Williams. Break point, Lindsay.
Appreciating that great play from the Australian. Got Lindsay on the run and had a little time to set up to execute this forehand up the line.
Dellacqua earned a wild card as the leading points winner on the Australian Kia Tour. That was before Christmas here in Oz. So she has wins under her belt, which gives you some, at least, modicum of confidence. But that was not the major tour, and she's now up against the top player in the world. By the way, she won 3 challenges last year, one in a place called Rockhampton. You know anything about Rockhampton?
No.
Rod Laver was born in Rockhampton. He was the Rockhampton Rocket.
Is that where he got the rocket from?
Mm-hmm. Oh, very nice. Dellacqua had a game point down 3 games to love. If I really wanted to aggravate the Rocket, Mary Jo, I would say to him, Roehampton Rocket, because that's where you qualify for Wimbledon.
Yes.
And he would say, it's not Roehampton, mate. Dellacqua on the board. This 20-year-old from Perth is obviously... look at this. I just walked past her and said, wow, that's Lindsay. Last year was given a wild card, lost in the first round here at the Australian. And now she's up against her. It's really, I mean, it's a sweet story.
It really is. She's never played anybody inside the top 20 in the world, Dellacqua, and here she is playing #1 player in the world. And to get on the board is very big for Dellacqua. Now she can relax a little bit and go for even more big shots. Because that's what you have to do against Davenport. You have to gamble more than usual. You know you're going to have to defend a lot, but if you get a little time to hit the ball, you have to go for those shots.
Weatherman says that we may see some rain later today, but this is a retractable roof stadium here in Melbourne, and simply close it and play continues.
So nice for the players, the fans. Saw Martina Hingis last night, and she said she heard it was going to rain tomorrow night, so she practiced with it closed last night.
You know, Mary Jo, Wimbledon have started their construction too for a retractable roof stadium.
It took a while to get another major to follow, and I'm hoping they all do it.
Chris Fowler has an interview with Martina Hingis later. You'll see that one. .40-15 for Davenport against Dellacqua of Australia, who says that she struggled most of last year. But while she was overseas, she was working with a fitness trainer, Scott Burns, and that really helped turn her year around. Davenport holds 4 games to 1 to the world's #1. They'll take a break. We'll join them more live Australian Open from Melbourne after get you juiced up for a little Australian Open action as Lindsay Davenport off to a big lead, 4 games to 1, taking on Casey Dellacqua of Australia. We're at Laver Arena. This is Dellacqua serving to Davenport, 1-4 first set. Cliff Drysdale here, Mary Jo Fernandez alongside. Statistically, not a great start here, obviously, Mary Jo, for world's #1 Davenport. But having said that, if you look at the bigger picture, I really feel that she's walking confidently, she's talking confidently, she's looking very strong. And you have the sense, as you were saying earlier, that she could walk her way into this tournament slowly and carefully. Although, Mary Jo, she doesn't have that great a draw.
No, she's in the tough section, top half. Her quarter has Henin, has Venus Williams, has the Russian Kuznetsova. But to me, you just said it, she's walking confidently, and she's been misfiring on first serves, only serving at 35% so far, but we haven't seen any negative body language, and that will be the difference, I think, in 2006 for Davenport. When the matches don't go exactly the way she wants them, they're not perfect, that she can remain positive. And a scream like that is okay. You even got a smile. Her new coach, David Dellacqua, I'm sure, has gone over how important it is to not give your opponent any signs of negativity. Oh, missed opportunity there by the Australian. But so often we see Davenport, like last year in the final, everything's going her way, has a little bad luck. Game goes against her and she kind of just starts to slump, and when she's at her best, you cannot tell whether she's winning or losing.
Well, who told you, was it well, who told you that she said that he's getting really deep into the strategy with her, like, you know, what to do when it gets to an important point in a match even?
Exactly. I think the older you get, the more you start to think on the court when things get close, and too much thinking sometimes works against you because you get a little tight and you misfire. And I think if things can be as clear as possible,
oh,
that's too good.
tough.
What a great angle from way behind the baseline from Davenport. But if you can keep things simple and know that at 4-all deuce, you're going to go for the big return. You're going to try to hit the ball hard up the middle, and look at that angle with the left hand from Davenport. It takes a little bit of the pressure away, and it comes down to execution.
Oh, that's just too good on the pass, two-hander with this lefty. Dellacqua stays in this game 6. Deuce.
Dellacqua's handling the power pretty well from Davenport. She's played some good defense. If she's had the time, she's been able to create some power herself. A little unlucky there with the net court. Another break point for Davenport.
That was a slice two-handed backhand for a clean winner. Watch this one. Where did that come from? A year ago, Dellacqua got to the point where she said that she was pretty close to quitting because it was all too hard, and she said, I just didn't know what to do, to be honest, but just hung in there, went home to Perth for 3 months, did not work out much, went to Japan, and in her first tournament there made the final. Then she really got into good shape and won some minor tournaments. But she says, you know, sometimes I felt like, and people would say I'm not fit enough, which was true, but she says I've got the shots. I feel like I can hit the ball as any other girl out there, she says.
One of those shots she's talking about. Again, if she has time to set up, Dellacqua can really rip the forehand. Winner of this match play the winner of the Bodarenko-Karolina Sprem match. Sprem from Croatia had the big upset over Venus Williams a couple years ago at Wimbledon. Has not played as well as we expected in the last 12 months, Sprem.
15. Any explanation for that, Mary Jo? Because we watched that match so carefully and really thought that she had a great future, Sprem, but it hadn't turned out that way yet, anyway.
Just been very inconsistent. She hits the ball extremely hard, but you don't go in the majority of the time.
.30-15, Davenport 4-2. We're watching the first match on Rod Laver Arena of this year's Australian Open. Top player in the world and a top seed, Lindsay Davenport, given the honor of playing the first match here because she is the top seed, and there's an excellent crowd for a relatively early start here of this day. It's not yet noon. And Maria Sharapova still to play here on this Rod Laver Arena. David Nalbandian. Ali tonight against Serena Williams. That match you can watch live 3:30 a.m. on the East Coast. You need sunscreen here in Australia. Lindsay to recover to get to that one, and it's deuce in this game. You need sunscreen anywhere, obviously, but the ozone layer here is a little thinner than most of the rest of the world.
The sun hits you a little harder, that's for sure. And break point opportunity for Dellacqua. Get back on serve. She's had 2. Not been able to convert yet.
Dellacqua says if it's hot and it's a hard court, then it's fine with me. She loves playing in Asia and Japan. She played last year for 5 weeks in Italy on clay and did not win a match.
Advantage Davenport. Game Davenport.
Davenport holds. She's got 5-2 first set. That represents 1 break. Dellacqua of Australia will serve, and we come back live to Rod Laver Arena. With the breaker serve, Davenport 5-2 in the first set. Here she's reminiscing about her last year, where she ended up number 1.
I look back on it with a lot of pride. It's not easy at 29 to be healthy and finish the year 1 and be as consistent as I was. You know, obviously disappointed not to have won either the Australian or Wimbledon, especially Wimbledon getting so close. So it's kind of both. I mean, I look back on it intuitively and know that what a great year. There's no one that would have picked me to do that again. And then at the same time, like, oh, to get so close to achieving the highest level in tennis and not having it happen is tough emotions to get over as well.
But she got over them, and that's what's remarkable at this stage in her career, that Davenport was able to put that loss behind her, that Wimbledon loss that she talks about. She had the match point. She was playing so well. Good laugh there by Dellacqua. Davenport had defeated Venus about 4 times before that Wimbledon final, but she still reached 2 finals. Davenport quarters at the French. She lost to Pierce. The U.S. Open, she had match point against Dementieva, lost that quarterfinal. Not playing her best, but she's persevering.
And now she's got 3 set points. Dellacqua saves 2 set points. Still 1 left for Lindsay. And Davenport wins the first set behind 2 breaks, 6-2.
And Mary Jo Fernandez.
Thank you very much. The Australian wildcard serving here, Chris, at 1-2, as you mentioned, in the second set. Davenport winning the first behind 2 breaks. These are break points here for Lindsay at 15-40.
Got gets the break, Davenport. 3-1 in the first set. Davenport was a little scratchy, got the early break, but she was trying to impose her game, trying to hit the corners. That's what she does best when she's inside that baseline. The shot of the first set came from Dellacqua, however. Comes up with a great angle from the slice. Even Davenport couldn't believe it. But Davenport was able to get the second break at 5-2. Break for the set, and again, when she's on her game and she's hitting the ball cleanly, very hard to defend against her.
3-1 Davenport in the second. Mary Jo, you are a close personal friend of Lindsay's, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you talk to her a lot, just about things other than tennis as well. And she looks just like the girl next door. She's widely respected by everybody, but I mean, there's got to be a bit of a mean streak, a bit of a competitive side to her, isn't there?
Oh, I think she's very competitive. I really don't think she has a mean streak in her body. She has a good head on her shoulders. She just likes to be away from the limelight. She's never liked it. I don't think she ever will. She's not one to use her name to get in front of a line at a restaurant. She just likes to be normal, and she is. Very grounded. Her mom, who's with her here, has done a phenomenal job.
I have the feeling that when ultimately she says, I've had enough, that she will not, unlike Martina Hingis, for example, like just wish to come back.
I don't think so.
Game point here for Davenport. First set, as we said, couple of breaks. Playing her way into this match pretty well.
There's her mom, Ann Davenport.
Davenport holds, and it's 4-1 in the second set. Davenport won the first. Dellacqua to serve, and we come back live. That's the great Rod Laver, and they recognize their past champions here in a really delightful way. This is the Rod Laver Arena. He was a 2-time Grand Slam winner. That means all 4 slams in 1 year. Casey Dellacqua, 20-year-old from Australia. She's a wildcard entrant into this championship, taking on the world's top player, Lindsay Davenport, here in the first round. It's now about 10 minutes after 12 o'clock on this Monday afternoon down under in Melbourne. When Laver was a teenager, he just hit the heck out. You know, we tend to think everybody just hits the ball so hard these days. Well, Rocket was the same way. He just hit the heck out harder than anybody else in his era. Didn't control it too well at first, but his first coach said to him, Rod, just keep doing that. They'll finally fall in.
Start coming in.
Double fault. 15-30 in this game at 1-4.
Philosophy is evident today with a lot of the players. They hit the ball so hard and they just figure they're going to start dropping in eventually, and if they do, I'm going to win. Serve has let Dellacqua down in this match. Couple double faults on big points.
Break points for 5-1. Lindsay Davenport will serve for the match here on Rod Laver Arena. Lindsay Davenport probably not real happy about what happened in college football in the final, because she was a big USC fan, but Pittsburgh over Indianapolis in the AFC playoffs. You know, tight one, and then another tight one, Carolina over Chicago, 29-21. That's NFL football, of course, but
Lindsay's husband, Johnny,
yes, he was
he's
a USC man. Yeah.
So that was not a happy day.
As is my son. So the Longhorns are not popular.
A much better second set by Davenport. Striking the ball better, a little more confidence. Match was a little closer than the score at 6-2, 5-1. You think she would have blown her opponent off the court, but had a lot of close games. Triple match point. Let's this backhand rip. Saves one match point.
The rest of this championship, 6 more for Lindsay Davenport before she can hoist the trophy, if that is what is going to happen for her here. She was in the championship match last year in a losing effort, but a very close effort to Serena Williams. Any final postscript thoughts on this one?
Well, I think she'll be pleased that even though she didn't play her best against Dellacqua, Davenport was able to fight through those tight games and play better in the second set. And she'll need to improve with each and every match. She's in a tough section of the draw. Looks like she might play Karolina Sprem, who's up a set and a break on Bondarenko. And then she's got the Russian Kirilenko. It would be her first seed, possibly. She's a tough little player, but I like Davenport's chances through this section. But then again, Henin and Venus would be her opponent in the quarterfinal, and that's when it gets really serious. But a good start for Davenport. Worked out the cobwebs and finished with an exclamation point with the winning overhead.
And all is said and done, she ended up last year as world's #1, and the year before that, in fact. So Lindsay Davenport of the USA safely through, losing only 3 games for KC Dellacqua of Australia.
After the disappointment in last year's final here in Australia, a very business-like opening match, 2006 Aussie Open for Lindsay Davenport, just 3 minutes short of 1 hour, losing only 4 points on her first serve. She's standing by with Luke Jensen. Luke.
Obviously.
Lindsay, congratulations, but what's it like playing someone you don't know?
Yeah, that was tough. Embarrassed to say I didn't even know it was a lefty until I started warming up. So, you know, you concentrate on your own game. I know that almost every match I play, it's about me and about how I perform, and so I really try and take that no matter who I'm playing. But, you know, from here on out, I think I'll know everybody.
Last year, you were within points of winning the title. What were your thoughts stepping back onto that court?
Gosh, I felt a lot of nerves. I'm not exactly sure why, but I was really excited to get back out there and play. And, you know, I think maybe because I didn't really play a warm-up event, wasn't really sure how I'd play in a match. But I'm so excited. I've been ready to go now been in Melbourne like 8 days, was just ready to go, get out on the court and play, and I think I was a little anxious in the beginning, but, you know, settled down and was able to play pretty well.
Talk about the difference between 2005, 2006. You're in great shape.
Yeah, I feel great. I feel like I've been working really hard. I've been even trying to watch what I eat, which is like impossible for me. So, no, I definitely feel lighter. I feel like it's been exciting. I feel like there's still a lot of things in my game that can improve and get better, and I'm just trying to do all that.
And what's Dellacqua bringing to the game plan?
He's just kind of a pain, you know. No, I'm just kidding.
Coaches have to be.
Yeah. No, he's awesome. He's been really, it's a really great influence on me, I think. We've been talking a lot about, you know, situations and matches, how I want to play, what shots I want to play, and really feel like I've been focusing a lot of energy on that.
All right, good luck.
Thanks.
Back to you guys.